Ba-da-da-da. Hey, welcome to Koco's Corner. I am the huge one, Dave Koco from CocoSports.com or KOCOSports.net. It's where the world comes to kick ass. It's your home for combat sports. And above all, it's where it's okay to be a passionate fan. This is our weekly Impact Wrestling review. As always, we ask you win, loss, or tie. Your opinion is just as valuable as ours. Don't listen to what other YouTubers say. And I want to see what the Internet Infantry thinks of it. First two things. First, I give this a win. I don't give it a perfect. I give it a win. I really enjoyed it. Was there stuff done wrong? I believe so. But I'm going to give it a win because it was just an enjoyable show. Just sat back, enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure, though, if I had to pay $40, $50 for this, I think I'd have been more pissed off. But it's locked down. It's free. It was an enjoyable Friday night show that I really enjoyed. So overall, I give it a win. All right, so please down in the comments put win, loss, or tie. What did you think? And I just got to answer this question. I get this a lot. Do you hate TNA? Because when Raw goes off the air, you do a Raw review right away. But when TNA goes off the air, it takes a while. And that's not true. I don't hate TNA. I don't love it. I'm not an extremist. But I've watched it since day one. Shoot, really watched it from day one. Not, I watched it from day one, but don't know what day the pay-per-views were on and how much it cost. And no, I watched it from day one. I used to have a radio show, and we advertised it, supported it. We had a good working relationship for a while. But no, I've always supported it and always watched it. The reason why Impact reviews are late, it's something called real life. On Monday/Tuesday mornings, because I live in Japan, I have access to do a podcast, and sometimes I have to go head-to-head. But on Fridays, Saturday mornings here, I do a lot of volunteer work and also do a lot of teaching, and that's why Impact is usually a little bit later. It has nothing to do with me being a WWE fanboy, as so many TNA fans claim, and it has nothing to do with me not respecting TNA. It's just real life gets in the way sometimes, and I apologize for that. So there you go. And those that are in the fantasy draft, within the next 24 hours, we will be doing their TNA fantasy draft. So if you're in our fantasy wrestling league, make sure that you get your TNA picks in at CocoSports.net. All right. Like I said in the comments, win, loss, tie. Let's break this bad boy down. All right. It starts off with a World Tag Team Championship match. They gave Jeff Hardy's fall. It was on YouTube, and they gave it away already, and they also said check it out. So the whole time you're watching this, you're like, man, when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? And all that. I like the fact that it happened at the post-match because you knew it was coming, but at the same time, you enjoyed the match, and there was a finish. And was it a clean finish? Not really, but it was very gimmicked up. There was people in handcuffs, people dragged outside the ring. Sonata hits Hardy with the Muda Mist, and he falls down and gets super kicked, and the winner is the Revolution. Even though the Revolution keeps the title, it did two things that I liked. It made this group that basically is a bunch of talented wrestlers and James Storm as the headpiece. It made them look more as a team, and it made them look more heels, and it didn't make the Hardys look weak. So I'm going to complain a little bit about the booking, but I'm also going to give compliments. All right, I thought this was something good because it made the Hardys look strong. It made Revolution start to look more and more like a team. Because right now, the Revolution, it's like James Storm is a promo tag team master, and he's trying to help these guys that have been lost. And I know that's the gimmick, but that's kind of also the shoot. What would Sonata be doing? What would not Havoc, I apologize. What would Abyss be doing? What would all these wrestlers be doing if it wasn't for this group? So even though it's a storyline, there's some truth to it. I think these guys would get lost in the shuffle. And not only that, but he's the mouthpiece, and a lot of these guys can't cut promos. So I found it to be very interesting. After the match, Koya from India slams Matt Hardy through a table ringside. Storm and Abyss start setting up a table. Manic leaps from the top rope and misses. And Jeff Hardy all of a sudden is gone absolutely insane. He just starts drop kicking everyone, and then he starts climbing to the top. And then he gets trapped on the door. And we've seen this on YouTube a bunch. They put this over like $1 million. It's hard. Impact Wrestling has a disadvantage compared to WWE Live and compared to other shows. And so does Lucha and Ring of Honor. It's just that the spoilers are out there. And unlike Ring of Honor and Lucha Underground, there's people that really hate Impact Wrestling and will give the spoilers on the Facebook and the Twitter. Isn't that's a real dick move? Because those people are just there to enjoy it. But they did a great job of hyping this spot up. They sent out the fan footage. They advertised it. And I was unsure of it, last week. But now I see the outcome. It got me interested. I was like, well, when's this going to happen? Is it going to happen? And when it happens, it looks nasty. It looks really nasty. It's a nasty fall, nasty bump. But here's the thing. And I'm a Jeff Hardy hater, but I have to give him credit. He either fooled us all, and I have a little conspiracy theory that maybe that was rigged, but if he didn't, he just took one hell of a bump, and you're questioning what's real and what's not real. And that's what pro wrestling should be. That's what pro wrestling should be. The fan cam made it look a lot worse than the TNA cams did, but it still looked horrible. So either two things happened. He either fooled us all, or he fucking did something absolutely insane, or a little bit of both. But either way, he brought magic back into wrestling and all that. I would have done it a little bigger. They're doing a great job at... All right, hold on. Give me 5 seconds.
Oh.
That was brought to you by my neighbor doesn't read the sign in English and Japanese, not to bother me. Welcome to doing a podcast in Japan. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I just found it to be amazing. I think they handled it well. The only thing is I would have made it where they took care of him better, because either Jeff Hardy really took a nasty spill, and they're like, well, let's just do a camera. Let's not get to him right away. And they've done this in the past with Austin Aries. Either that, or they knew he was safe, and either way, kayfabe or not kayfabe, the medical team has to get to him quicker. That's all I'm saying. Because if it's kayfabe, which I doubt it is, but I'm starting to, them not getting to him right away is like, well, they either don't care about their athletes, or that was a great stunt. You have to get to your athletes quicker, Impact. I've mentioned this in past shows where, like, wrestlers will get hurt, or wrestlers will take a huge dive, or wrestlers will do something amazing on Impact, and the medical staff seems inconvenienced. Like, well, Jeff Hardy just bounced his body off the steel fucking stairs. Should we get to him now? Well, I don't know. Should we be in this shot? So it's kind of interesting there. So either way, Hardy did an amazing job, and this is coming from a Hardy hater. Hopefully he's okay, but by the way TNA is handling it, I imagine he's okay, because if he's not, that'd be a scumbag move. Speaking of scumbag moves, ImpactWrestling.com, I got to put you on blast. Yeah, you have a big yellow thing. Breaking news about Jeff Hardy's injury. All right. I'm a TNA fan. I'm going to go look at it. And you've been pretty good about the social media and online coverage of how you handle Impact. And it's hard. It's really hard. As a former promoter and a social media fucking guru, I can't believe I just called myself that. I'm a dick. It's a really hard product to advertise, because there's just dicks that have spoilers, and it's not like the movie business where people, or movies or book business where people respect spoilers. They're like, I don't like TNA, I'm going to ruin it for everybody. But you're doing a really good job. You have improved. Since going to Destination America or the Destination America move, you have improved social media. But do not fucking have breaking news that says nothing. Nothing. TNA, we've told you, no more breaking news and major announcements that go nowhere. All right? And maybe you're clickbaiting someone, but really? No. No. Bad TNA. Bad. I mean, you have Josh. He's all dressed up in his Sunday's best, and you're like, breaking news. Like, oh, this ought to be interesting. You show the replay. You're like, okay, I understand. You're trying to get it out there on social media. All right, I'm with you. Well, what's the breaking news? We know nothing. Tune in next week. No. No. He's in the hospital. He's broke a rib. The early reports are this. The NFL has better fucking sideline reporters than you do in a sport that's predetermined and you can decide everything. Bad TNA. No breaking news, no major announcements, unless, hear me out, you're actually going to announce something or you're actually going to break news. Come on. And not only that, but Impact Wrestling, you're famous for making fun of the internet. You're like, oh, the internet, they just say anything. Look at us, we're in the business. No. There's no fucking dirt sheet / blog that would even run that fucking story. And you're the official Impact Wrestling thing? No. Bad TNA. Great booking, great match, great moment, bad.com. Bad.com. All right, moving along. Boom, boom, boom. All right, and then you got a promo with MVP Kurt Angle. Besides MVP putting over the Hardy thing, I thought this was kind of a waste of time. I don't know if we live in a social media world. I don't know if it's I love pro wrestling. I noticed with a lot of these American companies, you know, in Japan, they have their promos, but they have it like it's a sporting event. They cut promos like it's like you would talk to an athlete, and they end the show on long promos, but you don't have to stay. You're like, oh, if you want to know what the storyline is, stay, but fucking we're just going to talk because the show is over. This stuff, and WWE does this too, is worthless. All of this whole segment could have been summed up in a tweet. You know, you could have had one of your backstage reporters that get absolutely nothing. Worst backstage reporters in the business today, kayfabe-wise. You could have them go up to MVP, say, oh my God, Matt Hardy. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And then be like, later, we're going to fuck. It was such a waste of fucking time. And I love MVP. I love Kurt Angle. I love all the members of the Beatdown Club. Eric Young, I loved you as a face, as a heel. I'm still like, I don't know if this is working for me. But we're still moving along. But with that said, this was a waste of effing time. It could have been done in a tweet. Could have been done in 5 seconds. Now, maybe the injury to Jeff Hardy was legit. You know, they're sending out stuff on the internet saying how he was knocked out, all that, and maybe they're stalling. But if that's the case, you don't have to air this. You know you're not live, right? I just thought you were on such a roll with that first match. The second match, like, oh, okay, well, look, MVP's putting it over. Oh, MVP, and then the threats, and then, oh, no, stop. Just stop. All right, I know, and I love Kurt Angle, and I love MVP, but, yeah, that segment should have been fucking 30 seconds in a tweet. And then next, you have what a lot of people are calling a dream match. A lot of people were hyped up, and I liked how the commentary team put this over. The, like, one line is, and I'm paraphrasing here, is like when Havoc first showed up, they were talking about this match, and Awesome Kong didn't even work with the company. I thought that was such a nice touch. I thought tonight the commentary team was the best that I've seen from Impact in a real long time. They did a great job at putting stuff over. They did a great job talking to the audience, not talking down to the audience. Taz, Josh, give yourselves Barry Horowitz, because tonight I thought you guys did the best job that TNA has done in a really long time on the announce team. This match started off brawling on the outside. The fans were really into it. I thought the brawling on the outside took a little too long. I thought it was very interesting matchup. I enjoyed it. It was two big women just beating the piss out of each other's, and then the announce team did a great job by like using words that described their size without insulting them. And I really enjoyed the match. It was a bit short and slow at times, but the New York crowd got it into it, and not only that, but you know, it goes. I'm going to knock WWE. Not that we've ever knocked WWE on TNA Impact thing, but WWE lies and says they're for kids and 8 years olds. My 8-year-old son doesn't watch anything but Dragon Gate and New Japan. We're a New Japan and Dragon Gate family. They have no interest in the American product. It's boring as shit to them. But my son, who's playing Game Boy, actually put the Game Boy down and go, wow, these women are really beating the hell out of each other. And, you know, it drew in. So you don't need, you know, the most amazing, fake, supermodel-looking bitches in the world. You just need girls to go at it. My 8-year-old son put down his little Pokemon game or Demon Watch game or whatever game he was playing. And he never does that for an American product. And enjoyed this match. And Awesome Kong won. And there was better than the Divas, but I think they were saying F the Divas, but I'm not sure. But there was a lot of chants ringside. The fans were really into it. And hopefully this feud goes somewhere. There was one announcement team where they're like, oh, well, I guess that's over. And Taz is like, no, we're trying to sell this shit. And that was the one flaw in this, is that they were treating it like a pay-per-view, but at the same time it was free, and at the same time it wasn't ending feuds. So a lot of times Josh would be like, well, I guess that's the end of that chapter. And Taz is like, no, it's not the end of that chapter. This shit's on for free. We got to keep going. And the main event, you know, I love the fact that they did a pay-per-view gimmick for free, but there was like in the commentary team, even though I put them over, there was like, do we treat it as a pay-per-view, like this is the end of a feud, or do we not treat it like a pay-per-view and treat it like a free television show and be like, wow, how's Havoc going to get revenge? But I overall enjoyed this match. I'm so happy Awesome Kong won. I thought they were going to give it to Havoc. I'm not as big of a fan of Havoc as I am Awesome Kong. I believe Awesome Kong is the best one of, if not the best women's wrestler out there today. Just character, everything wise. Go check her out in Japan, what she's did there. I just find her to be amazing. She doesn't seem to be her old self just yet, so hopefully she finds her sea legs, whatever the fuck that means. Knocks off some ring rust and does some amazing things. But I'm looking forward to this feud, and I'm happy as shit Awesome Kong won, and hopefully she can stay. All right, boom, boom, boom. Next, you got Eric Young versus Bobby Roode. They did a great job building this up with promo packages and all that. I thought it was a pretty decent match. I think Bobby Roode is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and by far the best total package pro wrestler TNA has going right now. That's including storylines, bookings, in-ring work, everything. To me, he should be the face of Impact Wrestling. He should be it. And not only that, but now that Bobby Roode's a face, I hope down the line, and this is me fantasy booking / wishing upon a star, I hope that Bobby Roode versus a healthy EC3 feud happens. I would love to see that. That's what I'm hoping for. So it would be interesting. Now, granted, I know spoilers. They leaked out. I don't want to talk about it, but we'll talk about it when it happens. But Eric Young versus Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode gets the win. Eric Young, I don't know, dude. Eric Young does something amazing when he's selling. When he's really getting the shit kicked out of him, he does this fucking, I don't know, I don't want to call it original because I've seen other people do it, but it's a very weird, a unique style of selling that is kind of interesting. I enjoyed this match, But this is where the pay-per-view, this is where they treat it like a pay-per-view and not free television seems to be a bit weird. And I'll definitely get that into the main event. I thought to keep a storyline, to keep us going, Bobby Roode should have lost. But, you know, it's like, well, we're treating it like a pay-per-view, and in most pay-per-views, the good guys win. So we'll just let the good guys win on this one. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think Eric Young needed it more just because we love Eric Young. Most fans love Eric Young. I love Eric Young as a face. And as a heel, he's flopped. He has flopped bad as a heel before. But now he seems like, oh, no, I'm going to do a heel run. He's got it more together. And a lot of fans that have been watching for a while are afraid he's going to flop again as a heel. But as of this recording, as of what we've seen so far, I think he's doing a great job as a heel. It's weird because, you know, deep down inside, we love Eric Young so much, but he's doing a great job. But I think there's still that fear of he's flopped before as a heel. Hopefully he doesn't flop again. But I really enjoyed the match. I thought it could be a little bit longer. I'm looking at you, MVP promo that goes nowhere. And I love you, MVP. I really do. But I wish it was a little bit longer. And I wish that Eric Young got more offense in. It's just like these guys are supposed to be rivals. And I think Bobby Roode, this is just my opinion. And, you know, opinion's different. I think Bobby Roode had too much of an easy time against Eric Young. I still enjoyed it a lot, but that's what I got out of it. Overall, really good match. And I think Bobby Roode should be the face of the company as far as the good guys. And the heel of the company should be EC3. And hopefully we'll get to that sometime down the line because I think it's pure money. Now to this handicap match. I thought this was going to be a bag of shit. I did. If you came up to me and be like, wow, you're enjoying Lockdown so far. Yes, I am. Oh, next, the handicap match. What do you think of that? I'd be like, bag of shit. But Dave, you haven't even seen it yet. That's not fair. Like, it's a bag of shit. Look at this. What I thought was going to be a bag of shit was really the surprise match of the night. I enjoyed it a lot. You had Rockstar Spud and Mandrews. I like that they're a team. I like that. And then you got Tyrus with Ethan Carter III. Hopefully Ethan Carter III is healthy now or getting healthy so we can see him back in the ring. But it was a handicap match, and I despise handicap matches. I think it's just dumb. It's just dumb. But they did a great job, and Spud, much props to him. Mandrews, much props to him. The spot of the night was Spud flips off EC3 and flips off the top of the cage. I thought it was really amazing. Mandrew got stuck on the outside, and man, those stairs were fucking pain in the ass all through the night. EC3 sweeps his leg, and Mandrew hits the back of his head on the stairs. I was just like, man, fuck those stairs. But overall, for something I thought would be absolutely horrible, it was pretty decent. And Tyrus does get the victory because Spud is distracted because EC3 is beating up his friend. And the post-match, EC3 plugs in the clippers before he can start shaving Spud's head. Jeremy unplugs the clippers and takes off across the arena with EC3 in pursuit. So they're keeping a storyline along. I love Jeremy Borash. I think he's one of the nicest, hardest working men in pro wrestling. Stop this storyline. Just fucking stop. Just stop this storyline with Jeremy Borash. But no, I really enjoyed this match, and it was my shocker match of the night because I thought for sure this was going to be a bag of shit. And, you know, Spud, Mandrews, they were indie wrestlers in the UK, and for the first time they showed on an Impact level that how good they could be. And the spot was kind of exciting, and not only that, but I got caught up in the moment, and that's what pro wrestling's supposed to be about. I was like, fuck yeah, Spud! So, overall, I thought it was going to be shit, and they delivered something awesome. Then they showed this TNA. I might have been mad at the MVP segment that went way too long. I might have been mad at some of the booking decisions you made on this show. But the fact that Robbie E. and Brooke Race for the win at Lockdown. You just made that into a short clip show. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, A, it's horrible. B, you got to get the great, amazing race in. Just a thank you for making that a clip show. This is what I'm talking about. You have to do stuff to sell out like bitches. We understand that. Everyone in the real world understands that. Impact has to sell out sometimes. But the fact that you sold out and didn't ruin the rest of your show by selling out, give yourself a Barry Horowitz. I was so happy that this was just a clip show. It was ridiculous in 30 seconds. I couldn't imagine that going on for like 5-10 minutes. I would have been so fucking pissed off. So something that was absolutely horrible, you made watchable. And for that, you deserve a Barry Horowitz. Way to go, Impact. All right, this is the last match of the night. You had Lethal Lockdown, Team Angle versus the Beatdown Clan. Now, this is where TNA diehards are like, hell yeah, you're so smart. You know what you're talking about. And then I'm going to say something bad about TNA, and you're going to be like, you're a WWE fanboy. You don't know shit. The turn is coming here. Did I enjoy this match? Yes. Did I think it was passable? Booking stop? No. I think this was by far the worst fucking book match on American Discovery since they moved to the new channel. I think this is by far the worst book match that they've had since rebranding. It was almost depressing. The match was pretty decent. You know, you can't blame the athletes. You can't blame the gimmick. You were entertained. But as a super nerd, when you're like, hey, I'm going to give you props. You made the Hardys look strong. You made this. You have to fucking be like, hey, it's time to pay the piper. This was probably the worst booked match. Not blaming the athletes. Not blaming the gimmick. Blaming the creative team, TNA. First off, you did a horrible job pumping it up in an MVP promo, and I love you, MVP. Second off, this was just bad storytelling. Every 5 seconds, you were just like, all right, I see. Like it just got you out of the zone. And this is what I mean by this. All right, you have Gunner. All right, and we talked about this on Lucha Underground with Johnny Mundo. You have to sell injuries, all right? Jeff Hardy, injured, not injured, who knows? He's selling the shit out of that. You can't get your arm smashed, or in Lucha Underground's case, your leg smashed, and then be like, you know what? I'm going to start this match. And even if you are that stupid, 0331 for life, Semper Fi, Gunner, bro, from one ring to another, dude, you have to use fucking common sense. You have, like, Kurt Angle has to come in and be like, you know what? I'm glad you're on the team. You're hurt. Yeah, you're going to have to, you're going to have to not be number one. They send him out number one with the hurt arm, and he doesn't do a good enough job selling it. Why would you do that? And the whole time you're just like, oh, I feel the kayfabe walls breaking around me. All right. So then the match goes on, and they did a great job booking Bobby Lashley. I don't want to fuck with you guys. I don't fucking want anything. I don't want to deal with this shit. All right. Finally, fucking Bobby Lashley, who can't cut promos. He can wrestle, but he can wrestle to the point of he's very good at hiding his weaknesses. And you're like, wow, Bobby Lashley's really taking off. It's really working. He shows up. He's the fifth guy. And not only that, but I know you're treating it as a pay-per-view and you want to surprise people. At the same time, this is where you're like, too predictable. And you're like, well, shut up. No, I didn't read spoilers. I don't know. But come on. It would have been better if you got someone else that spot. Bobby Lashley would have had better character and all that. And all that, but how worthless does Kurt Angle seem? You're the only guy. Really? There's a roster of about 40 fucking wrestlers. You couldn't find anyone else. All right. Bobby Lashley goes in there. They start beating the fuck out of each other. And basically, Team Angle wins. And why do I hate Team Angle winning? because one-on-one matches mean a lot. One-on-one championship matches mean even more. We all know the good guys are eventually going to win, but this is the time the bad guys should have won. There's no way, and this is the problem. On free television, the Beatdown Clan wins. I mean, that's where your fucking money's at. But you treated it like a pay-per-view for free, and a pay-per-view like, well, we got to let the good guys win because a long time ago someone said that's what you're supposed to do in pro wrestling. I think that the fact that Team Angle won, just thrown together, you're like, all right, we got Austin Aries, we got Gunner. Why is he there? I don't know. He's even fucking hurt. And then we got a guy who kind of fucking hates us. Yeah, Team Angle. And then you have, we're brothers, Semper Fi, look at us, Beatdown Clan, it's us, it's us, it's us, we're a team, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we just fucking lost to a bunch of fucking ragtag fucking thrown together good guys. I enjoyed the match, but like I said, you know, you have to call it like you sees it. I thought this was horrible booking because the Beatdown Clan, you know, let's see, Kenny King is booked like Glass Joe. And then the other three guys are supposed to be fucking tough guys, but you fucking lost. You lost. Like, where do they go from here? What are they going to say? What are they, oh, now we're going to fight you. No, it's over. And I know what they were thinking. They're like, we're going to treat it like a pay-per-view. We're going to let the good guys win. But that's like being a high school basketball team, then going to the wrestling team and saying, hey, put on any 5 fucking guys that are on your wrestling team and let's play basketball. And then the basketball team losing. It's just, no, you did so good. The athletes busted their ass. It was entertaining. But I think storyline-wise, since the rebrand on Discover America, this was by far the worst booking they've ever done since the rebrand. It was bad. And I know, spoilers, what's going to happen. Damn you friggin' spoilers. But still, at the same time, I left very disappointed. And not only that, but if the good guys can beat the bad guys so easily, then what the fuck is the point of the feud? What's the point of the feud? What could the Beatdown Clan possibly say? Eric Young got his ass whooped pretty handily, and we got our asses whooped by fucking 4 guys that fucking pulled straws out in the back. All right. I love you, TNA, but too much. Too much. Andy Paps on Facebook says, I give it a win too, and I agree with you, Dave. Speaking of the draft, did you see it? Did you, draft, you saw mine is on Koco Sports, right? LOL, never mind. The only match I thought was bad was the Havoc Awesome Kong. I thought it was slow, and I thought the brawl outside kind of took away its specialness. Like, I think if they didn't brawl outside and they went face-to-face inside the ring, it would have gave the fans more time to chant, and it would have made them look like monsters instead of, I don't want to be mean, but it kind of made 2 monster-great athletes look like out-of-shape women. That's what the brawl seemed to do. So instead, put those monsters in the ring, inside the cage, have them look at each other, have the New York City crowd buy into it, start their chants, go crazy, and then maybe make it quicker. I don't know. But it seemed, I don't know. I don't say it was bad, but it could have been a lot better. Rockstar and Mandrews make a great tag team. I agree, and there's a storyline there and everything, and people go absolutely crazy. So there you go. Someone asked me on Facebook, who is more deserving of a WWE heavyweight title match at WrestleMania 31? Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns? Well, I mean, Daniel Bryan. There you go. All right, let's see. Ba-boom to YouTube. I appreciate all your live comments. It means a lot. But bam, 5 likes, 0 dislikes. Thank you very much, Internet Infantry. Let's see what we got here for comments. All right, Lennox Wooderson. With the week competition, what was this show and match of the week? Show of the week, I'm gonna have to say NXT with a close second, Lucha Underground, and match of the week. That's really tough. Match of the week. I don't know. I marked out. I don't think people agree, so I'm just gonna give my opinion. I don't think it's a lock. I really marked out for Aerostar versus Drago on Lucha Underground. Oh, and of course I marked out for Kenta versus Prince Devitt. I thought that was amazing too. But I don't know if it lived up to its hype. But yeah, if we're going with the week, you might as well just ask what was the best show on Wednesday. But yeah, total elimination. Hey Coco, why do you think EC3 didn't work in WWE NXT? In my opinion, I think he's a good annoying heel. I have no idea why it didn't work. I enjoyed EC3 in NXT when it was with Daniel Bryan as his coach. That was back when it was a game show. I really did. I always thought he was talented. I always thought that he was funny, talented. Yeah, he was the heel. He was the heel in Bound for Glory in Japan, and back in the audience fucking loved him. I don't know why it didn't work. I imagine if I had to guess, probably some backstage stuff. He probably parked in John Cena's parking spot and all that. I don't know the factual reasons why it didn't work out, but who knows? But yeah, I'm just glad he's here. And all that, but usually I'm anti-WWE guys coming in and fucking just bullying the Impact guys. I'm looking at you, Bischoff and Hogan. But EC3, I think, has helped TNA and rebranded himself, so I really enjoy him there. Lennox Wooderson, what do you think about the battle for second in America? I think that's the only interesting thing about American Pro Wrestling right now. I think Monday Night Raw is so bad and so ahead of everyone else, it's not even worth mentioning. I think the battle between Impact, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, I think they're all motivated trying to compete for second place, and that is, it's not as powerful as battling for number one, but battling for second place right now, I think is the only interesting thing in TNA. Who's winning the financial battle? Who's winning in the ring battle? Financial battle, I don't know. The Ring of Honor is hurting financially. TNA keeps it pretty close to the vest, but, they were hurting for, all through the Dixie Carter era and just got worse and worse. Lucha Underground, I don't know what their financials are, but I imagine they got to be financially best set. El Reyes really seems to go behind them. I think, this is just my opinion, no facts whatsoever. I think if El Rey stays in business, Lucha Underground stays in business. I could be wrong, but that's what I think it is. And I think, you think about it, they rent out the same place, they get people there, they don't travel, they record a bunch of television. It just seems like that's the most profitable place. And it looks like a TV channel that's just getting off the ground is backing them. Now, I don't have Impact numbers and all that, but in ring-wise, I mean, do we count NXT? NXT has its moments. I think it's NXT Lucha. Ring of Honor has their moments, but at the same time, a lot of people, even if they watch other alternatives, Ring of Honor needs to do something to make them special again. They try, but I don't know. I think Ring of Honor has its moments, but it's not consistent enough, and I wish, that television company treated Ring of Honor better. I would say it depends on your style. It really just depends on your style. But yeah, the race for second place really is the interesting thing in pro wrestling right now. And sadly, not enough fans watch it. Not enough fans watch it. Like, I'll be all negative on Monday Night Raw and be like, well, you're not a real pro wrestling fan. I'm like, well, do you watch New Japan? Do you watch this? Like, I don't know. I think there's too many WWE defenders in the world. Lennox Wooderson, TNA does one thing that WWE does that is horrible. Try to fit everyone and every story on every show. I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I can see why some people don't like it, but I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I think the thing I think is bad is that the good guys win too fast against the bad guys in TNA. And I think the reason is that because the good guys kind of have more creative control. Like, there's no way Kurt Angle's team should have won tonight. There's just no fucking way. It doesn't fucking make sense no matter how you cut it. But I think a lot of talented athletes, they get turned into being a heel, and then they just have to put over older face things. I think that's more of a problem. But getting multiple storylines and having everyone show up on the story, I don't know if that's a bad thing. As long as they don't cut into pro wrestling and they keep all the storylines short and the announce teams put it over. I think it's a bad thing. Like, here's an example of when that's a bad thing. That MVP promo. That MVP promo should have been fucking 30 seconds. I thought that was a bit much. You could have... Let's be completely honest. What did we get out of it? You got him insulting Jeff Hardy. You could have did that in the back. So there's a 10-second promo, a little clip. It still got it done. You could have MVP threatens Kurt Angle. You could have did that in another clip, like Kurt Angle and MVP bump in the back and be like, "Hey, bro, shit's not going good. You should forfeit." Kurt Angle's like, "That's what you think I would do, but I'm not." There's another 10 seconds clip. And then the Beatdown Club jumps Gunner from behind. So you had what? Maybe a 10-minute thing that you could have did in maybe 60 seconds. That promo could have been done with backstage segments in 60 seconds. Break it up. And it, not all that, but if you broke it up, it keeps reminding you about the main event, and it would have been more effective than that whole long promo. So, yeah. I don't know. I like multiple storylines because I'm more of a Paul Heyman, Dragon Gate, New Japan guy. And Paul Heyman said this a long time ago, and NXT does this. TNA hasn't perfected it, but they're trying. Paul Heyman said this a long time ago, and I don't know if he's the original guy who said it, but I've always believed it. Everyone that leaves that curtain, the audience should care about. And if that's not the case, the booker's not doing his job. And I kind of believe that. I believe that way of thinking. You know, like, and you'd be like, well, how are you going to have jobbers? How are you going to do this? You can not win and still be over. Look at 3MB. Look at Curryman if you want to go TNA. Shark Boy. Yeah, you could have guys that never win and still be over. But if you're a true creative team, every person that leaves that curtain you should care about. And I think Lucha Underground does this good. I think Dragon Gate does this good. I think New Japan does this good. WWE is fucking horrible at it. NXT does it good. And TNA, I believe, is trying. But I think TNA still worries about WWE guys too much in their creative process. They're like, oh, well, it's Kurt Angle. It's Jeff Hardy. Don't. Tell the best story and have them as pieces. Don't be afraid of your pieces, you know? Lennox Wooderson says, I wish Kurt stayed backstage and became the Triple H of TNA. Let him run his own developmental territory. I think that's eventually going to happen, but I think Kurt Angle won. Well, you know, the online rumor is that Kurt Angle is going to do one more run, retire TNA, and then go to the WWE Hall of Fame. I just think Kurt Angle wanted to have one more run as an athlete. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens to Kurt Angle after his last run. And who knows, will it really be his last run? Kurt Angle looks like the type of guy that would be addicted to the business. Larry Hammer says 2 words, Jeff Hardy. Old age will not be kind to him. Thank you, Jeff. I am a huge Jeff Hardy fan, but as time goes on, not a fan. I'm a huge Jeff Hardy hater. But as time goes on, I'm starting to respect the Hardys more and more. I'm starting to enjoy them a little more. And even though I'm not a Jeff Hardy fan, I can just respect the spots that he does. Yeah, and old age will not be kind to him. It will catch up. Ewok from Endor says, love this show. I give TNA a tie. Thank you, Ewok. Lennox Wooderson, was the draft finished? I put my picks as a reply to my original picks. No. Within 24 hours, the TNA fantasy draft will happen. So if you're listening to this and you're part of the fantasy league, go to kokosports.net, click on fantasy wrestling, and put your TNA drafts in. Not everyone has left picks yet, and if you don't leave picks within whenever, it's supposed to be today or tomorrow, then you have to pick with leftovers. Lennox Woodard said, who is the best producer of wrestling? Dixie Carter with TNA, Vincent Dunn with WWE? No, not Vince. Well, I don't. Delirious with Ring of Honor, or Robert Rodriguez with Lucha Underground? If you're going right now throughout history, I mean, if you go throughout history, I think you have to give it to Vincent Dunn, even though I fucking despise them. Like, it's just, they've been doing it a long time, you know? But if you're going with right now, pick one right now, Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground by far. They're doing different stuff. They're just, to me, they're the best product on television. Lennox Wooderson also says, who's being utilized worse, Angle, Joe, or Lashley? This is a tough call. Well, worse as in the fans watching him, maybe Angle. But Angle's in business for himself. He's like, I'm going to do one last run, and it's going to be amazing. I don't know if it really will be his last run. So as a fan, I have to pick maybe Angle. But on the creative purpose, individual athlete, I have to say Joe. Joe is always lost in the shuffle. I think Samoa Joe is so much better than TNA thinks he is. And I've actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'll say it anyway. No one's fucking paying attention to me. I actually had meetings with TNA Creative when Samoa Joe won the title and then lost the title. And they just asked me my opinion on it. And, you know, I think TNA Creative, TNA the company, has always thought very little of Samoa Joe. And I think Samoa Joe should be a staple, I just think he should, I don't know about now, but during the Hogan era, during Kurt, I think Samoa Joe should have had one of the best TNA careers of all time. I think he should have been the CM Punk of TNA. I think it's just, I don't know. To me, I'm gonna pick Samoa Joe as being the worst used, just because throughout the history of TNA and even now, they've never used Joe to his full potential. Bobby Lashley, I think it's the opposite. I think Bobby Lashley's being used great. I think they're hiding his weaknesses. I think they're showing off his strengths. And I think they did everything right for Bobby Lashley up until tonight's main event. If Bobby Lashley never showed and they gave the rub to someone else and someone else took Bobby Lashley's spot as the fourth member, I think that would have helped Bobby Lashley even more. Mr. Jason 916, TNA needs to make their own young guys instead of getting WWE rejects or old dudes or cut from NXT. What do you think, Koco? I've been saying that for a while. I mean, there's some exceptions to the rule. Not many. Kurt Angle at one time was an exception to the rule. I think that days are gone. I think Kurt Angle's now like, Kurt Angle was like, wow, look what you did to TNA. And now it's like, really? You're still fucking around? And I love Kurt Angle. He used to be my favorite wrestler of all time. But, yeah, no. But there's some exceptions. I think Christian did a great job. I think Bully Ray did a great job. I think EC3 did a great job. There's some that make the transition. But then there's too many Kevin Nashes, too many Booker T's, too many Mick Foley's, Hulk Hogan's, and all that. And, you know, I'm throwing those guys under the bus, but that doesn't mean I don't respect them. It's just they fucking did nothing. And I think if they get to, like, you hear stuff all the time. TNA gave a huge contract to CM Punk. They want to give a huge contract to Rey Mysterio. They want to give a huge contract to Albert Del Rio. Yet Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles isn't there. I just think their priorities are fucked up. And they've always been that way. But, yeah. Who is the best / real world champion? Prince Puma, Tanahashi, Lesnar, Jay Briscoe, or Lashley? This is a little unfair for me to ask because I think the best wrestling in the world is New Japan, and I think the IWGP title is the fucking ultimate title. At one time, Ring of Honor had that ring to it. Lesnar is a badass, but let's be honest. If like a world champion has to actually wrestle. Lashley is doing the best he can with what he's got. And Prince Puma, I really I really love Lucha Underground, but, it's no IWGP. When it comes to best real world champion, I have to give it to Tanahashi. Even though I love Misamo Okada and I'm still heartbroken. Still heartbroken. But yeah, I think Tanahashi and the IWGP title is the most important title in the world. With that said, I live in Tokyo, so people might be like, take that with a grain of salt. Mr. Jason 916 says, instead of TNA booking dates for empty arenas all around the USA, just get one territory and stay there, TNA. Mr. Jason 916, I agree with this 100%. I know they're going back to Orlando, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but this is me. I would have 4 pay-per-views a year. 4 pay-per-views a year. That's what I would do. I'd have 4 pay-per-views a year, and I would never leave New York City. I would never leave New York City. I wouldn't travel. I wouldn't do house shows. Every television show would be in New York City. Then I would put 1 pay-per-view in Canada, because Canada wrestling fans are a thing. 2 pay-per-views in the UK somewhere, and a pay-per-view in Japan. And even though a lot of American fans were like, oh, fuck Japan, that fucking pay-per-view sucked, they sold out that arena, that legendary arena. And not only that, but people enjoyed it. I remember going to the TNA Japan pay-per-view, and we went early, and no one was in line. And we're like, oh, fuck, this arena is going to be empty. Because there's been a couple WWE house shows where Japan just didn't show up because they were upset with the product. So I was like, oh, fuck, TNA screwed. And then we went to go eat and hung out. I think there was a cosplay thing across the street. We went to go check out some of the cosplay players, and then we ate at our favorite restaurant. It's a baseball restaurant in Tokyo Dome. Absolutely love it. Overpriced, but it's a great restaurant. And then we came back, and, dude, there was a line, like a crazy long-ass line, and I was so proud of TNA. And then we went in, and the conversation was, how dare Bobby Lashley and Bobby Roode not show up? That's what everyone was talking about. But as soon as that bell rang, people forgot about that and had a good time and enjoyed it. So, and I know they probably made bank because, and Impact, I know this is good. This is shooting yourself in the foot to help Impact Wrestling. In Tokyo, people spend a lot of money. And Impact, we love you. But used tickets were way too cheap. Way too cheap. Like, crazy cheap for TNA. Like, I remember sitting fucking, like, second to fucking front row, and all my Japanese friends be like, wow, I can't believe how cheap these tickets are. So if you do come back, don't jack up the price too much, but you can charge us a little more. But yeah, I regret saying that. That's going to come back to bite me on the ass if they do come back to Japan. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would stay in New York for everything, have 4 pay-per-views a year, and then the 1 Canada, 2 in the UK, and then 4 in Japan, because that's where they do good. And then, like, if there's another country that they do really good in, maybe take 1 away from the UK. But Impact, I think England and UK is Impact country. I really do. Just TNA country is right there. China for WWE Hall of Fame. If I had a vote, yes, and yes, without a doubt, without a doubt. And you see like, oh, she did this, she did this. If you go look at WWE's Hall of Fame, if you go look at Triple H and Vince McMahon's track record, yeah, you have a lot of skeletons in your closet too. And yeah, I just think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. They should be in the Hall of Fame. I was a Marine. I don't believe in that once a Marine, always a Marine thing. I was 17 running 18 miles a day. That's when I was a Marine. I'm a fat ass that fucking gets blown up talking wrestling on YouTube. So I don't believe in that once a Marine, always a Marine. But one thing, when I got an honorable discharge, which is like the highest discharge you can get, a first sergeant came to me and said, no matter what happens, no one can take this away from you. And I like that, because if I'm anti-war, if I'm an anarchist, if I travel overseas and say I'm never coming back, they can never take that service away from me. And the same thing with any Hall of Fame, any championship. You shouldn't be able to take that away from you. And I think she had a Hall of Fame career, and you shouldn't be able to take that away because she did something else. I mean, really, if there was a legit wrestling journalist out there. Know what this wrestling journalist could do? Go make a rundown of everyone that's in the WWE Hall of Fame and what they're accused of and what they've been accused of and what you can Google search. And it will be sad. I mean, there's Hall of Famers right now on Skype. I'm being a little sarcastic, but people will know what I'm talking about. There's Hall of Famers right now on Skype. You can be like, here's $10. Can I see your titties? Thank you. No, it's bullshit. Let her in the Hall of Fame. She's a good person, for the best of my knowledge. Mr. Jason 916 says Triple H only offered NXT coach role, but Kurt Angle wanted an active role this year. Maybe he will be a coach for NXT next year. And that's what the internet reports are saying. So I think he'll have one more run. All right, let's see. Oh, man, you guys left a lot of comments. I really appreciate it. Boop, 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 boop. All right, I'm going to try to get through these quickly. All right. I wish Kurt stayed backstage. All right, I think I read this. I'm going to start with Ewok. If I missed any of your comments. All right, boop. All right, howdy, Dave. I'm excited for TNA's fantasy draft. Well, hopefully we'll do that in 24 hours. Has TNA popped at the territory when it comes to New York City? I hope so. Who's... All right, I apologize for this. TNA needs to stay the hell out of that show-killing Impact Zone in Orlando. Shows in front of actual wrestling fans are better on TV. And I agree. And the problem is, Larry Hammer, I'm going to defend the Orlando because I lived in Tampa and I went to a lot of Orlando things. The problem with Orlando is that there's so much to do. And then to get into Impact Zone, it's free. It's free. You know, you got to pay to get in or you got to sneak through some alley or whatever. But it's free to actually get into the Impact Zone. The problem is that you have to wait there forever. So most of the time, it's just a tourist wanting to be on television. So, yeah. But I don't know. I would stay out of Orlando. I would stay out of the Impact Zone. I think there are fans in Orlando. I just don't. It takes a different thing to go to Orlando. Like, because this is it. Like, I got invited to the Impact Zone all the time. And it was free, and they had to put your name on the list. And even when you put your name on the list, it's, oh, God, you got to wait forever. And even though I like TNA, I'm sorry, waiting 8 hours in line? No, it's not for me. You have to really wait in line for a long time. And I think that scares off a lot of fans, especially if there's so much shit to do. What do you think of Lashley's face turn? I wish he was still a tweener, and they, and this all from Lennox Wooderson. They put you in spam again, Lennox Wooderson. Bastards. I think he was better as a tweener, saying leave me the fuck alone and keeping the title, but I was wrong. Is the Beatdown Clan a good thing for TNA? Yes and no. Yes, because you need it's the easiest story to write. Here's a faction of bad guys. We have to stop them. All right, we stopped them. That's not how it's supposed to go down. So I think it's good. I think it's bad for TNA because they failed at so many of these factions, like Aces and Eights and all that. They failed miserably. But the difference between this faction and factions in the past is I respect every athlete and find them all enjoyable. So hopefully they get that going. Is the beatdown... Oh, I already read that one. All right. Rumor has it AJ is going to win the IWGP title within the next 3 months. Your thoughts? You know what? I love New Japan, but I don't know. I'm still a heartbroken Okada fanboy. I don't fucking see the point. I don't. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a slow build. Well, here's the problem with the slow builds. Nakamura is the guy of the future. Nakamura is the popular one right now. Nakamura is the one that should be champs. You slow build Okada to never winning the title again. You slow, like, it's just, I don't know. I'm very upset with it. I mean, if they want to give it to, I don't know. This is just me speaking as a fan, and some New Japan fans are always like, oh, give it time. And I hate the phrase give it time. And the reason I hate the phrase give it time is because 99% of the time it doesn't pan out in pro wrestling. Give it time. Don't worry. Don't you like a long, slow burn? Yeah, but if you're a good storyteller, I think, like, what does it fucking matter? Give it to AJ Styles and this fucking group of good old boys that used to be the fucking Bullet Club and fucking have Tanahashi go. It's just, what the fuck? I don't know. It's timing. We talked about Samoa Joe, and when I was talking to TNA Creative that one time about Samoa Joe, I said it's timing. A lot of wrestling fans and a lot of pretend bookers and a lot of things, when they start defending a product, they don't realize timing is a factor. Like Samoa Joe, if he wins that title, the TNA title, this first TNA title, if he wins it the first time he goes after it, I think that changes Impact Wrestling history. I think it changes the way people look at the product. I think you have more fans. But the fact that you waited, then gave him the title, then took the title off, it's like, oh, who gives a shit? There's something, it's just called timing, and people don't understand it. This big thing with WWE and Roman Reigns. Well, you wanted Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble. That's not true. Last year, people were booing Rey Mysterio. They wanted, what's-his-face, Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble. It's timing. And I think when it comes to Tanahashi and AJ Styles, the timing's all fucked up. I just think, oh, Tanahashi's the champ. Yeah, and I still think the IWGP is the best title. I think Tanahashi's still the best champion. But, at the same time, it did lose some of its sparkle. It did. And if AJ Styles wins the title back, good for him. But what are they going to go from there? Is it Okada then beats him? Oh, wow. What I wanted fucking 8 years later. Let me put it this way. If Okada beats AJ Styles for a year from now, all right, hear me out on this one, okay? Hear me out. When I was a little boy, I wanted a Nintendo for Christmas. It was the best thing in the world. I actually wrote a novel about it. I almost gave it the title. I'm going to try to... my fucking partner would have killed me. But I wrote a book. It's coming out this year. It's in its final edits, in its final thing. And it's just about this kid who's obsessed with getting a Nintendo. And a little bit of it was me. I wanted a Nintendo more than anything in the fucking world when I was a child. I have fucking 7 Nintendos now. If someone said, here's a Nintendo, I'd be like, oh, fuck off. I don't fucking need a Nintendo. That feeling is what I got with Okada winning the title later. Oh, wow, thanks. Okada's title run. It fucking means a lot. Yeah, I waited for it. Yep, should be Nakamura's spot. So either way, I'm angry as a Team Chaos guy because either Okada wins the title from AJ Styles, and we're going off this rumor. Okada wins the title from AJ Styles, and maybe storyline, once it happens, I'm pumped up, like, fuck yeah, I got a Nintendo again. Maybe that's a possibility. But right now, just me being negative fucking Nelly here, yeah, it's like getting a fucking Nintendo once you have 6 of them when you're fucking 40. You're like, yeah, this would have been special. It's all about timing. And a lot of people that defend companies don't understand that. They're like, oh, give it time, give it time. All right, whatever. It's bullshit. And none of that, but then who do you go with? Then you have AJ Styles. Does the AJ Styles-Tanahashi match just go on forever? Oh, Jesus Christ, I hope not. Or do you give Nakamura his opportunity because he's the most popular wrestler in the company today and won Dave Meltzer's Wrestler of the Year? It's just over like crazy, over like hotcakes. Do you give him the title? But if you give him the title, then you're like, oh, well, Okada didn't get his. So, I don't know. I love New Japan, but even the mighty New Japan can disappoint me. All right. Boom, boom. People are sending me moves of Jack Evans. Yes, Jack Evans is very talented. EC3, the future of Impact Wrestling. I think he's the future heel of Impact Wrestling. If it was up to me and I had 100% control, and granted, I don't know how his health was, whatever, what his contract was, I would have had EC3 be my champion going, and health and all that as a factor. But in a perfect world, EC3 should have been the first champion to premiere on the new network. That's what I would have done. But yeah, I think he's the heel of the future, and I think Bobby Roode, I just think there's money in that feud. I think there's a lot of money. All right. Which indie talent would you love to see on TNA or WWE? Which indie talent? Man, there's so many. There's so many. I don't know, to be honest with you. Yahoo Nation, I would like. Yuha Nation. I think he deserves to be on national television. Ricochet, even though he's Prince Puma, I'd like to see. I'd love to see a couple more Japanese guys be represented in North America. I'm trying to think who else indie-wise. I'd love to see Roderick Strong, but that's just got me a huge Roderick Strong mark. I'd be interested to see what WWE could do with Adam Cole. So that would be kind of interesting. The Briscoes, I think the Briscoes would do good in TNA, the tag team division. I think that would be kind of interesting. And as far as Lucha Underground goes, I'd love to see the original Sin Cara, the original Mystico. I'd like to see him shine on a bigger stage. Jack Evans, I would like to see. So yeah, there's a couple guys I'd like to see come up. But yeah, so there you go. Hopefully, I answered your question. I feel guilty. I think I should have gave a better answer than that, so I apologize. And Craig Classic says, "What's up?" Indie wrestling fan. He's not an indie wrestling fan. If you are an indie wrestling fan, you should know who he is. He's a guy from Florida that now wrestles in Japan. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. And I think that's, holy nuts balls. Lennox Wooderson. All right, Lennox Wooderson, I'm going to answer your 4 comments, and we're wrapping this bad boy up. When is the next Stump the Idiot? I think it's happening right now, Lennox Wooderson. No, I got the questions lined up. I will probably do it within 24 to 48 hours. Is Okada's scenario similar to Daniel Bryan timing and stuff? It's not as bad. It's not that bad. Because Okada had its moments and all that. I don't know. It would be like if Daniel Bryan was booked correctly but never won at WrestleMania. That's more like Okada's situation, in my opinion. You know what? I have to give a warning. I am a huge Okada fanboy, so a lot of people are like, you can't be a fan. Shut up. This is Koco Sports, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. Could you rank the current pro wrestling promotion? Stump the Idiot. All right, we're gonna save that for Stump the Idiot. Boom, boom, boom. Plus, it gives me time to really think about it. Let me get my Stump the Idiot pad out there. Bam! It's in my Stump the Idiot pad. There you go. All right, bam. What do you book as the top feud? Charlotte versus Gail Kim or Kong versus Sexy Star? Oh, that's interesting. You can't go wrong with either of those. I don't know. That's probably the toughest question I've ever been asked. Matter of fact, that's such a tough question. You're going into pad for Stump the Idiot so I can think about it. I don't know, but I'm paying lots of money to see both. There you go. Because there's such a good storyline, and I don't know. I think, well, this is it. This is me. I think Kong versus Sexy Star is the bigger show, the better storyline. I think the promos going into that would be amazing. And not only that, but if you let Awesome Kong cut a promo like she did their last promo as Karma, I could see a feud because it would be such a good feud on paper. But I think the better match, in-ring match, would be Charlotte versus Gail Kim. And Charlotte's just a natural. Although a lot of people give her shit because of who her father is and what company she works for. But I think she's good. He needs to be champion by the summer. All right. All good, Dave. No problem. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. I hate leaving comments out there. So let me see if I can get it. Ambrose is Nakamura. I don't know. Nakamura is crazy over. And I know Ambrose is over, but I knew Nakamura was over. But when I went to Wrestle Kingdom, I think if I had a list of people that are over in their promotions, no one comes close to Nakamura. No one. If you're going off merchandise sales, and you're going off who's over as a face and heel, Nakamura versus AJ Styles, Nakamura versus the Bullet Club has to be the future. All right. When's the next Stump the Idiot? Within 24 to 48 hours. All right. I am wrapping this bad boy up. Thank you so much for the live comments. I keep telling myself, hey, I want to have shorter shows. but I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. Thank you so much for the live comments. It really does mean a lot. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out our blog. It's not in its best shape right now, but we're hoping to be more awesome starting Monday. So if you could, like, comment, subscribe now, and check out our blog on Monday. I'm stupid. All right, a Stump the Idiot coming later. Fantasy Wrestling Draft show later. All right, I think I've said enough. Thank you so much for the live comments. And with that, I am over. Bum, 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 bum.